Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape for every one of us. I was kinda late, cause I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Hardy is on the air. Had to drop a couple bars just to make you all aware. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know I go by Joe or the rest of the flow, yeah.
Okay. Stephanie Hardy with the ill entrance. Okay. Stephanie Hardy.
Oh my God. Hey y'all. Welcome to the Hardy Wrestling Podcast Live. Of course, I'm your girl, Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, host and writer for Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. And of course, color commentator for the Belladonna Division, Battle Club Pro, and of course, Black Girl Magic 2 2022. And I'm here with a special guest who is blank right now. But you did just hear his voice. I don't know where he went. But basically, before he's coming in and out.
Do you see me now?
No, I can't see you. I hear your voice though.
I'm here. I'm sorry. Do you see
it's
me?
okay. I hear your voice though.
Okay, my bad though. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you were just here. Okay, this is Sir Wilkins from the Jobber Tears podcast, and he's supposed to be on here. His image was just on here, and I don't know what happened. Technology is just being ratchet. I don't know what's happening.
So I'll leave and come back. Let's try that.
Okay, that's fine. Sir Wilkins will be back with us in a few moments, but I do have one thing I do want to say before we start the show. I know since this is a wrestling platform, I do have to take this opportunity to mention, of course, and send my thoughts and prayers and condolences to the family of Jay Briscoe, who sadly passed away on Tuesday night when he in a car accident with his kids. So I do want to give a special loving shout out. Not really a shout out, but just love and support to all of those who were close to him and who loved him, and to just give special thoughts and prayers to them during this really tough time. And also to any fans of his, of course, of the tag team, the Briscoe brothers, because they were, of course, a really decorated tag team. So I just want to give my love and support to all of those who are dealing with that loss, because loss is not easy. But of course, with support and all the right surrounding people around you, you can get through it. So I do want to open with that and just say that. But it looks like Sir Wilkins is back, so here we are.
Do you see me now?
Yes, I see you and hear you now.
Oh, we lit. Hell, y'all.
He always has to do this. Oh my God, I cannot. Well,
evolution of Stephanie Hardy. Hold up, ladies and gentlemen, before we start. Let's talk about the evolution of Stephanie Hardy. I've been on this podcast before, and it was just sound. It was just sound. It was just the audio. Now, she's on another level. The entrance. You have an entrance. You have theme song.
Yes.
Oh, the evolution of Stephanie Hardy is happening within. Oh my God, it's happening right in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. It has happened right in front of us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on the Stephanie Hardy podcast. The Hardy podcast. We are live. Not Matt Hardy, not Jeff Hardy, Stephanie Hardy. We are live, and I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. It's a really big weekend for you. And I just
Yeah.
had to talk to you. And I'm so glad you get to come back on this evolved version of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. So, for those who don't know, because I usually give intros around this time, usually my guests don't give intros for me, but I appreciate it because it's you. But yeah, this man who is next to me is someone who is just highly decorated with so many different things that he has done in wrestling. He's a backstage correspondent for House of Glory Wrestling. That's Hog, of course, for those who know. He is 1/3 of the Jobber Tears podcast with Janelle from the HR and Mr. Black, who also happens to be his brother. He is also a wrestler who is going to be debuting this weekend at Battle Club Pros. Welcome to New York against Simon Miller from WhatCulture Wrestling. He is also the co-host of Complex Unsanctioned with Queen of the Ring, Alex Lajas, who is a friend of the pod who's been on here before. This is Sir Wilkins. How are you?
Hey, y'all! I'm here. I hope all is well here because
Of
I am here on
course.
the Stephanie Hardy podcast, wrestling podcast, what you ever want. But it's Stephanie Hardy show, and I'm here, and I'm excited to be here. Like I said earlier, thank you for having me, Miss Stephanie Hardy.
Yes. And I have to ask you one question. Something that I find really funny is the fact that you and your brother love to say my last name extended, but it's like when you guys mention Matt or Jeff, y'all never extend that. Like y'all always just say Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, but then when it comes to me, y'all just stretch it all the way out, and I just think it's funny.
Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy are not breaking down boundaries in the wrestling community.
Oh,
They're legends, of course,
of
but
course, yeah.
you out here as a black woman in a male dominated industry doing your thing, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you. That's
You
why you
doing your thing.
extend it.
Yeah, that's why we got to extend it because sometimes they don't hear us. They don't hear, so we got to say Stephanie Hardy so they can know it's Stephanie Hardy's show.
Yes, thank you so much. I
No
appreciate it. I
problem.
remember the first time I heard it, I was just like, bro, like that is just so funny to me. Like, and then my boyfriend loves to make fun of you guys too, because he listens to y'all all the time. So he's just like, they always say your last name like that. And I was like, I don't know. But either way, I still appreciate it. Like, I'm grateful that you guys even mention my name all the time on your show because y'all are like royalty, like in
I
this space. I
appreciate
can't even deal. I
I
can't.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's all about showing love. It's all about just being a unit and us growing. It's not about jealousy. It's not about being better than others. It's all about us in this space growing and
Right.
showing the positivity. Sometimes I talk a little smack. I'm a little wild with my takes sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's about us, people that look like us, having a voice, and in different ways of having this voice. You, of course, have this super professional, just like this motherly love that you need in this very bastardized industry. You add this warmth that sometimes the industry is very cold.
Mm,
So it's everybody has their own little niche in this niche of is niche we call wrestling.
right.
So yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
it's important that we all show each other love because at the end of the day, we all we got, man.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like it's easier to navigate through this space, when you have people who truly do love you. And that is something that I do say that I love that you guys do give, especially when I came to New York, that I felt all the love there. I felt like I was at home. So nothing really changed except just the surroundings, but it's okay, because I was surrounded with love. But this is
Love me.
about you. This is
Oh
about
yeah, yeah.
you,
Oh yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah. My
So
bad,
I
my bad.
gotta
Thank you.
ask you, like, when did you fall in love with wrestling?
Oh, years ago, man, years ago. So I've been watching wrestling since I can remember. It was the only thing that me and my father watched together. And my father passed away when I was 8.
Mhm.
So that was one of the few things that me and him watched together. So it's always been a part of me. And the one time in my life, my adoptive mother would watch something that we both enjoyed. That's wrestling for me growing up was family time. And then it's kind of awkward because the Attitude Era was a wild time for like I'm older than you. It's like a wild time at 8 or 10 year olds watching um Jacqueline with her titties all out. And it was like, oh, this is what's going on. But at the end of the day, wrestling was family time, and it's always been a part of my life, one way or another. I've had my breaks from wrestling, like most people, but I've always come back to it because it feels like home. And wrestling is this art form that we can all debate about. Because technically speaking, nothing we say is actually right. This is a mega opinionated industry. You know what I mean? So it's always a love for it. Sometimes I can get annoyed by it, but I think it's more the community that annoys me. The community, you're part of the community, so you've seen the stuff that's in the community sometimes. But you know how it is. But at the end of the day, I've been in love with it since like 5. You know what I mean? Hogan. Terry's not the great person, but Hogan the character, that was one of my first favorite wrestlers of all time. I was out here watching Thunder in Paradise because of Hogan.
I haven't even seen Thunder in Paradise. That's a confession I can make now. But Hulk Hogan was one of my early favorites as well, because I started with WCW with my dad too. So it was just, and this was in the middle of the Monday Night War. So my dad had to go to work and he was taping both shows back to back. Mind you, I didn't know what was going on because of course I was a kid. But just watching that and just seeing him and Goldberg, even though I know you have your feelings about Goldberg, it's just seeing those two together was just kind of like the catalyst for what started my fandom too. So I get it. And you have that bonding time, and I totally understand that.
Yeah, it's wrestling is generational for many people. There's very few people that I know started watching wrestling on their own. Very few. And it's something that's a part of a lot of people's lives. And it's like, even people that don't watch wrestling now, like, whoa, there was a time I used to watch wrestling. I love it. We're like, oh, I used to watch wrestling back in the day, Even like people like Junkyard Dog. I'm like, yeah, that's what I used to watch wrestling. Or there's a moment that every single person watched wrestling. I don't care who you are. There was a moment in your life that you were watching wrestling. About 98% of the U.S. population. There was a time in your life that you were watching either Monday Night Raw or WCW Nitro.
Yes, exactly. Like, because you couldn't escape it at that point. It was everywhere. Everybody wasn't ashamed to wear their clothes and everything, their NWO merchandise and all of that. It was everywhere. But the thing is, now it's like if they see you wearing it, it's just kind of like, huh, you still into that? Yeah, it's amazing.
I had spoken about this on the pod, and yeah, it's interesting because we have the episode coming up. We were like, oh, you still watch it, but a ton of people still watch it. Like, we talk about ratings and all this other stuff. Legit, about 1 million people a week watch AEW Dynamite. A million people a week. About 2 million plus watch SmackDown. Another 1.5 million to 2 million watch Raw a week. Some television shows don't even do that.
Right.
So it's very interesting when people say those comments where it's like, oh, you still watch it? Well, half of Middle America watches it. So let me watch my Raw.
Exactly. And then that's not even counting people who do watch it overseas too. So it's just like, I mean, it's still very much a thing. And then that's not even counting people who watch it online too. Like when when they can't catch it on TV, they'll watch it because they recorded it, or they'll watch it on YouTube or something like that. So it's still very much a thing. So there's like no reason to feel ashamed of it at this point. And then you mentioned something else. But I think I'll go into my next question for you. when did you decide that you want to go into it professionally for yourself? Like, when did you decide, like, I want to be an athlete, I want to try this? Like, did you play any sports when you were younger and that sort of helped feed into it, or did you just decide one day, you know what, I'm gonna try this?
So I never really played that many sports because my mom was big on school. I'm from a Haitian background, so it's all about school first. And
Hmm.
it is what it is. I don't know where my hands are. I don't know where the ball is. So I played a little basketball. Wasn't really good at it, but I like to try things. So we started doing the podcast about I don't know how long ago it was at this point, and I was like, "Yo, I want to wrestle." And in my head, it was better understanding of what I'm going to be critiquing about or talking or just talking about it on a weekly basis on a podcast. Just a better understanding of what these athletes go through on a daily to weekly basis. That's what I kind of wanted to do. And I wanted to feel that excitement that they feel as well. So I said, I'm going to go into training. And then I was on my phone one day, and then House of Glory put up a post about that they're having an open house. I went to the open house, and it's it's that's it. That's literally it. And then it's been an up and down journey with the training because I work a lot in my shoot job, so it's hard
Hmm.
for me to get the full amount of training. But it's been a slow grind for me, and I appreciate the coaches that are there. I appreciate the main coach, which is amazing, Red. He's been nothing but good to me and very honest with me. That's something that I can't like not love when somebody's honest with you and is trying to help you. There's a difference when they're being honest and just not trying to help, but he's been honest and always helpful. And many people may not notice, but he's a legend, an underground legend within this industry, where a
Right.
lot of move sets that you see on TV today is from him. It's been adapted by him. Rey Mysterio even said it verbatim. I stole some moves from you. So it's a blessing that I'm under his tutelage. You know what I mean? It's a blessing that I get to see him weekly and him critique me on what I need to do and how to get better. So like I've been like spoiled. I've had legends come in like Eddie Kingston. I'm rolling with Eddie Kingston in practice.
Mm.
I'm I'm on top of Sasha Banks and giving her a pin. Like, you know what I mean? Like blessings after blessing because of who my coach is. And in the fact that he's blessing us with being to rub elbows with greats in the game right now. So that's the story behind. I think I went on a tangent, but that's why I started wrestling. To answer your question.
Yeah, I mean, that's valid because I feel like when it comes to wrestling, it's like one of those sports that you can go into regardless of where you start from or regardless of what you've done in your background or haven't done in your background.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really nice that you had that, you've had all of the lessons that you've had, from Amazing Red, who is someone that I learned about from you. Like I had never really heard of Amazing Red before. And then you would talk about him on the show, and I was like, who is this person? And then so I Googled him. And then I also found out more via Mercedes Monet. So I was just like, okay, so he must be legit, if all these people are talking about him like this. And the idea that you've been surrounded by these people, who are like magic on television is just amazing. So, what would you say are some of the best lessons that you have learned, since you've started training in your wrestling career?
So, a couple of things. One is stay humble, and it's always been my motto in life in general. Especially the older I've gotten, it's just be humble. It's your time is gonna come. Don't keep working, keep your head down, and do what you need to do. One of my mottos over the past, like, especially this new year, has been the one thing I can control is my hard work, or basically how hard I can work. I can control how hard I go. I can't control anything else, but I can control how much work I put in. It's a Kobe quote, but it's something that I've learned being at House of Glory. And also, you never know when your opportunity is going to arrive. You never know when you're going to be called upon. Just be ready. And no need to hate on the next man, and just keep pushing. So that's basically it.
Yeah, those are pretty valid lessons, and I just love the Kobe quote because I love the Lakers. I don't know if you've ever known that about me, but I
I
do
did not
love the
know
Los.
that.
Yeah, I love the Los Angeles Lakers. That is my favorite basketball team, and I love Kobe Bryant. So it's just like anytime I feel like I'm tired, I can always hear or listen to something Kobe related, and it makes me want to go hard again. So I definitely understand that. And I'm glad that you were able to learn those lessons and apply it to your growth as a wrestler and also just in life, period. Like
Mhm.
your work ethic is out of this world. Like you care.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
really care, and and you can see it, and your passion is there, not even just in the way you talk, but just in the way that you work in a whole lot of other areas of your life too. So I can definitely see that, and it's really good and cool to witness. It really is.
yeah. It's been a blessing to be able to do this. One of the biggest things is that, like, listen, I have our lives, and we are all directors of this movie called life. You, like, for instance, you created something. You created like your own brand in this community, and this is part of your movie. Like, this movie can end tomorrow. Are you gonna, when the credits can roll, you could be like, "Yo, that was a good movie," but you're the only critic of this movie because it's your life.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching our movie for life at the end, and are we gonna say like, "Yo, I did everything that I wanted to do, or I pushed myself," and I thoroughly believe that. Like, we can do anything that we want to do. And listen, we are both people of color, and racism is still alive. Stuff is crazy. It's messed up. People are messed up mentally, but we can still do great stuff. We can do whatever we want. There's a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
It is. Definitely. Definitely, definitely. And as long as your will is on fire, then there's always a way. That's
Yeah.
definitely how I feel. So, what were some of the most difficult parts that you've encountered in starting your wrestling career? And how did you overcome them?
Everything is hard. First things first. Being less stiff is a hard thing. Finding that rhythm, because I have no rhythm. I am a black man with no rhythm. I have two left feet. There's a
You're
rhythm in wrestling.
kidding.
There's a rhythm in wrestling, and it's hard for me to find it. But it's been a constant, like, because you have to show up. You have to get better at it. Some people pick it up right away. Some people pick it up later on, and understanding that, take your time. Because I have ADHD, so I'm always trying to rush through things. Like, wrestling is a legit dance. It's making love. It's crazy how fast some of these superstars go in the ring, but yet they're slowing it down because they're moving at a certain way to tell a story and do things. And spacing is key. That's something that I'm slowly understanding better. And you don't have to be super athletic and put on a 5-star match to tell a good story. So those are all the things that I had to learn, and I had difficulties
Mhm.
learning and had to understand. Like, your footing got to be better. So I've been working on that. Like, also slow down and take your time. These are all stuff I've been dealing with, but I'm slowly understanding and getting better at it. Which is why I
So
understood,
you have to
like,
learn how to be
patient. patient. Not you got it. You got it. You about to ask a question. You about to say it. So I'm gonna finish it for you, Miss Stephanie
Yeah, you have to
Hardy.
learn how to be patient with yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. But that's like a life lesson sometimes. Like we have to be patient with ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Because that's a
A
lesson
lot of
I have to
times we
learn
aren't.
every
Oh,
day. I get
really?
it. We aren't, and it's bad. It's really bad sometimes. It's just because you want to just get everything immediately, but it's like my mom always says, it's like you're not born with the ability to run. You have to walk before you can run.
You got to crawl before you can walk.
Right. But we want to run like immediately, like today. Like, but no, that's not how life works. That's not how life works. It's not
It's
how it
definitely
works.
not how life works. It's the same microwave society, that we live in, teaching us whole different thing. But reality, everything takes time.
It does. And that's okay. So, what are your hobbies outside of wrestling and outside of what you do on a regular basis, outside of podcasting? Like, what does Sir Wilkins like to do to chill out or
Oh,
just have fun?
I love going to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the greatest things ever for me. The movies. I think the movie is the greatest thing ever. So, a little quick backstory about Wilkins. Growing up, my mom didn't have a lot of money, so I never asked for much or anything. And movies for a family of four is expensive. So when I got older, got my little bit of money, I take myself to the movies. I love a good movie. I love watching good. I love getting my buttery popcorn, sitting back in that cold movie theater and just enjoying myself. And also, gotta get a slushie.
Yes.
Have to get the blue mixed with the red.
Yes.
Just have to get that because that's my thing. That's a good movie. Is my hobby. I enjoy sports. I enjoy video games. I don't have the time as much as I wish I do. I wish I did to do it. Totally love going to the gym. I am low key a foodie. I feel like everybody's a foodie nowadays. Everybody loves food, but like I love to eat. That is, and I'm surprised I'm not 300 pounds. That's why I work out so much because I love to eat food. I went to Milan like a couple of weeks ago. All I did was eat and sleep.
Wow.
Find me a restaurant and I'm gonna enjoy that. And I'm actually thinking about doing like, I think everybody should do this, but finding 10 restaurants from different cultures and eating at them. I have a list coming up of me just going to different restaurants and eating dope food from different restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool to make content out of because, it's just like, how some people really are foodies, but then you have your people who kind of, I guess, maybe want to pretend that they like food like that. I mean, I don't. I just try to eat and just get it out of the way and just eat what I know I'm going to eat on. But you could make content out of that and then you could make it like Sir Wilkins food thing of the day or the week or something like that. That would be funny.
I just love how she just straight branded me right now. Ooh, Stephanie Hardy, businesswoman right here, businesswoman.
Yeah, that was just an idea I just had. I was just like, you know what? If he likes food like that, then you could turn that into a thing. And that would be nice.
But I'm not like this, those critical like the texture of this was not the best on these. No, this shit tasted good. That's all I'm gonna say. This was good. It was good. It tasted delicious. All right, next thing. I'm not that guy or that woman that's gonna be like the texture and then the this wasn't good enough. Like I'm not with the high end food. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's not that thing. I went on. When I was dating my ex girlfriend, we went out to eat and went to this restaurant. It was like a high end restaurant. I was so mad, Stephanie. So mad. They gave me like this much
Why?
food. They gave me like this much food.
Oh no.
And they made it look nice. Had a little nice little plate. And I was like, this is a waste of money. And New York's expensive.
It is.
So I paid a lot of money for that,
It's like
and I
I
was
love
annoyed.
y'all, but y'all high.
Trust me,
I
I know.
love
I
y'all,
live
but
here
it's
my whole life.
but it's just like to pay that much for like a small amount of food. That's crazy.
I was tight, tight.
Were you full?
Absolutely not, Stephanie Hardy.
Wait, what?
I said absolutely not, Stephanie Hardy.
Okay, I didn't think so. I just wanted to ask just to see. I didn't think so. I just wanted to ask just to see. But you mentioned how you love to go to the movies, and that's something I like to do too. Popcorn and especially butter popcorn is like my favorite snack. Like, I kid you not. What was the last movie that you saw?
The last movie I saw was, what was the last movie I saw? Black Adam
Ah, okay.
with The
How
Rock.
how did you feel about it?
I'm an honest fan. Even though I love The Rock, it was okay.
Yeah.
It ain't hit. It wasn't a banger.
Yeah. I feel like that's something a lot of people are saying is that they love The Rock, but it just wasn't it didn't hit them. And then it was real for me when my mom said she didn't like it. I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah,
She hated it. I
yeah,
was just like, "Oh, this is bad, dude."
yeah.
But
So I mean, it is what it is.
yeah, I think the last movie I saw was Wakanda Forever. That was the last movie I saw.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It was Wakanda Forever.
Mhm.
Now
Yeah,
that was
Black Panther
good.
too.
That was good. That was
Yes.
muy bien. It was delicioso, epic proportions. Angela Bassett
Fantastic. Goated.
took the words right out
Had
of my
me
mouth.
crying,
Crying,
weeping,
tears coming down the eyes like a
sobbing
waterfall.
loudly.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it was a great movie, well done in my opinion. But she was the MVP of that movie.
Yeah. I would say really all of them are given the circumstance,
Of course, yeah,
because that was just unexpected for everyone. So the idea that they took some time and then picked up, and then just moved on with the rest of the story and just carried it forward was still beautiful. So, yeah, I knew it was gonna make me cry, but I didn't think it was gonna make me like sob and just, all of that. It was emotional, but it was still really good, and everyone deserves their props for that. So,
yeah.
yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, before well, actually, I want to ask you a question that I feel like is important as someone who wears so many hats. How do you keep yourself together mentally and emotionally, as you go through different avenues in your professional life and even in your personal life?
So to be honest, and I'm gonna be transparent, it's always been a struggle because I do overwork a lot of times
Mhm.
and I don't notice it. But as of late, I've been making sure I get sleep. So I don't drink, so it's always been my little like cheat because I don't drink. It kind of like helps me keep the health on point, and I've always make sure I always work out. But plus I'm getting older, like making sure I get quality sleep. Like I'm in bed by 9 p.m. most of the time. That's why we're doing this podcast at this time. I told you I had something else to do, but most of the time I'm in bed at 9 p.m.
Mhm.
because I have early mornings. Also, one thing I've learned, and I think other people need to understand that as well. Sometimes I've had issues in relationships is that I need to be left alone. We work with people all day, especially me, especially my shoot job. I'm with people all the time. I'm dealing with people in the wrestling community all the time. And this may sound like some mumbo jumbo stuff, but we're sharing energies and energies are bouncing off of each other. And sometimes that can drain you mentally. So I will take a day off every like maybe 1 or 2 weeks where I'm not doing nothing. Where I'm home on the couch like a slob flipping the channels and just enjoying time with Wilkins. And I think that's been my biggest like way of keeping my mental at a high place, because when you're around people all the time, it gets to you. It gets to you because let's be honest, we all got to be polite, we all got to be respectful, we all have to put on somewhat of a mask. Regardless if you're being your true self, there's still a mask you got to put on. And the only time we have to take off that mask is when we're all by ourselves. And when you wear that mask way too much, you end up like the mask, the movie, end up being a anti-hero because the mask becomes you, and you're doing stuff that you usually wouldn't do. So I've learned to take time for myself by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been my biggest way of having everything that I do not overwhelm me.
Yeah, that's, that's valid. That's completely valid because sometimes you do need to chill, especially like people like me. It's like I might give off the fact I'm very extroverted. I've been told I'm very extroverted, which is true. But sometimes you do need to just have a day or two where you just need to just sleep and just be by yourself and just watch your own TV shows and just be in your own energy. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to take care of yourself.
Just sometimes we just need to recharge alone
Mhm.
and be given some type of space or be without one loved one that we truly care about. But it's for me right now, it's finding time to be alone.
Yeah. And that's definitely valid cuz
Hmm.
you be everywhere and and sometimes you just got to like chill out, and people who be everywhere really do need to just take the time to just sit down.
Take a
So,
seat. Yeah, take a seat.
yes, have a seat, sit down, sit down somewhere.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So on the podcast, Jobber Tears podcast with Janelle from HR and Mr. Black, who I love, um, you've been given lots of really hot takes on people. So the thing that I want to ask you now is, has there ever been a point where you've noticed that you've said something and then somebody's made where someone like a wrestler who's on television has made mention of it or made a reference to it? And how did it make you feel?
I haven't had any wrestlers mention it because a lot of wrestlers are good with their PR. But I've had wrestlers in my DMs or I've had wrestlers comment or something and say things.
Mhm.
And even I had that issue with Bow Wow. I don't know if you remember, I had an issue with Bow
Oh, I
Wow.
remember that.
So
How can I forget?
so it's that, but a lot of times I look at it like this, and I'm not insulting you as the person. Maybe Bow Wow I was, but that's a different conversation. But I'm not insulting you as the person, I'm insulting the character that you play. Because you as a person is a whole different person outside of the ring, outside of the arena, who is living a completely different life. When I talk about certain people, I'm talking about their character. I'm talking about who they
Right.
play on TV. Because I know from practicing and doing this wrestling stuff, it is hard. But I also am a podcaster. So you're gonna get this work if you ain't putting in the work that I feel like you could be doing. So I remember when Shelton Benjamin got at me.
Mhm. I remember that too.
Um, Mia Yim was in the comments. I was like, oh shit. Well, Battle Club ain't working with Mia Yim no more if she goes free agent wise. But it's never hate. It's not from a hateful place. And sometimes people are like, yo, you're telling me this. I feel like I value your opinion. The way I talk about wrestling is how we talk about basketball in the barber shop.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's that conversation that we're missing in this whole space of having these conversations, which sometimes can be critical. Like It's okay. It's okay. And I've gotten criticism my whole entire life. Does it hurt my feelings? Yes, it does, Stephanie Hardy. It has hurt my feelings before. But you got to deal with it.
Yeah, you do. And honestly, it's just that sometimes it's just I think that's something that I think is really funny about you is the fact that you're just so honest and you just come on with it. But I think that's just I mean, it's not just a you thing, but that's just a New Yorker thing. Y'all just come on out with it and just say stuff. Whereas it's just kind of like here we kind of have to like down here down south. We have a tendency to find ways to say things or we'll just say things covered in something else. But y'all just come on out.
Some Southern people are mean.
Yeah, we are.
Y'all,
Some of us can be,
nah, y'all,
some of us can
y'all,
be.
y'all, y'all this psychological mean. Like,
Yeah.
bless your heart, child. That's a straight
Mhm.
insult.
And we
That's a
don't mean it. And we don't be
yes.
meaning it.
Y'all
We
be
don't be
saying some stuff.
meaning it.
Y'all be saying some underhanded like insults. Like you think it's a compliment, and then you really think about it. Like, nah, that's an insult. She just insulted me, but she's like already three blocks down before I even pick up on what just happened.
Right. Like that's how we but y'all just come on out with it. It's just funny. It's funny to me, but at the same time, it's real though. And that's what I can appreciate. It's coming from a real place. And I just appreciate that. And I just think it's fun. I just
Like,
really think it's fun. It's
I ain't
interesting.
gonna I ain't gonna hold you. I know this is a woman empowerment podcast, but I don't fuck with Sarah Logan strictly for the January 6th stuff. So I don't want to see her on my TV. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't
I'm gonna have
fuck
to
with
put a warning on this episode.
I don't fuck with Sarah Logan. But at the same time, I know she needs she needs a check. She paying her bills. She just had a kid, I think. So listen, mom, get your money. But I still don't fuck with you. It is what it is. Money, mom. I don't like you, but everybody else does.
Yeah. Valhalla is, a goddess, and that's just how it is, but it's okay though. Your feelings are valid, and they're valid. It's okay.
Listen, I
But
appreciate
yeah.
you letting my feelings be valid right now, Miss Stephanie Hardy.
Yes. Okay. So, how do you feel about the state of wrestling now? Independent and mainstream wise, and what do you think is good and what can be improved upon it in your opinion?
So my thing with wrestling right now, I think super saturated. At the same time, there's so many opportunities in this business. You know what I mean? I really feel we're in a place because of social media, because of what we have currently, because of technology. There's so many opportunities and so many ways to make a name for yourself. But like anything in entertainment, you got to put the work in. There's levels to this. Like the middle level, a lot of people's in that middle level, but very few's at the top because they put that extra work in to get there. What can be improved? I wish storylines were better all across the board because I love a good story. Um, I love things that go on that make me think and make me want to understand. I'm for the entertainment part. I understand I love wrestling. I love a good match. I want to be entertained. Are you not entertained? That's the question that we have to ask. And I want to be entertained. That's what I want to be. I want to be more about the entertainment side. Somebody else might disagree with me, but I'm on Stephanie Hardy's podcast, and she said my opinion is valid here.
Yeah, it is valid. And those are really good answers. Okay. Those are really good answers, involving that. Because when it comes to stories, it's just there can be, it's like you remember the stories from your past, but in the present, like there are some stories that really do stick with you, like everything with the bloodline, because you do talk about the bloodline line. I do too, on all of the platforms that I'm on. It's like, I love that story, what they're doing with Sammy and Roman and everything. It's great and it gets better and better with each week, and it makes you want to come back and watch and see what's going to happen next. Whether you love the bloodline or you hate them, you're still looking. And it's just, and that's just something that will always stick with you. Like there's so many layers to it. even outside of wrestling, because psychologically it sort of teaches you what gaslighting is and what an abusive person does, whether it be physically or even like it teaches you all of these lessons in real life. And it's just like, how can you not get anything out of this? Like, what are you doing? Like, I hate it when people
Listen,
complain.
it's good shit.
It
I'm
is.
cursing way too much on this podcast. My apologies, Stephanie Hardy.
It's
My
okay.
apologies. My
People curse
apologies.
on here all the time. It's okay. It's
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I don't stop people from cursing. I just know that the episode will be labeled explicit. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn.
It's
Then the
okay.
kids can't hear it. Damn.
No, no. It's okay. It's okay. The children, it's okay. We're being responsible in that way. But either way, it's really good. But then you also have your other stories, that aren't as memorable, but then you still want to give them the chance to get there if, it's
Exactly.
possible and not just give up on it. So, we're all
Exactly.
about giving chances here. So, what sparked the rivalry between you and What Culture Simon Miller, which is, of course, leading to the match that's sponsored by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast this Saturday? What led to that?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Stephanie Hardy is paying me my worth. It's getting me paid. It's putting money in my pocket. I appreciate you, Stephanie Hardy, because without you, I'm getting nothing but a handshake and a hot dog. But
you're welcome.
I appreciate you. But anyways, long story short, this match was literally set up on the fly by Joakim Morales of Battle Club Pro. He's like, "What do you think? You guys are very similar in your own way. It's like the multiverse of like podcasting. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this is what culture is in England. You are part of Jobber Tears. Both of you guys are bald and kind of muscular. So this is amazing. You wear singlets. So let's just wrestle." Like he sounded like Vince McMahon as he proposing this thing to me. And it was supposed to happen, but then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Then another year, at another time, I think Simon had gotten injured,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this all leads up to a better build. You know what I mean?
It
And
does.
I bumped into him at WrestleMania, so he
Mm-hmm.
cut a promo on me on his What Culture page, and it's helping with building up the potential match. And we were trying to do it at Jobber Slam last year, but he was booked with Thunder Rosa an hour before Joakim called him.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, Joakim gets in contact with him. He's like, "Yo, I literally just said yes to Thunder Rosa." And because Jobber Slam and that match that he was doing at Thunder Rosa's promotion was the same exact day.
Wow.
And then now we have it January 21st in Brooklyn, New York. Welcome to New York. Sir Wilkins versus Simon Miller. Jobber Tears versus What Culture. America versus England. And Baldy versus Baldy. Chocolate Milk Dud versus Vanilla Milk Dud. It is going to be legendary. A match of epic proportions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about to be big. This is about to be bigger than big. About to be massive. And we're all going to have a good time. But Simon Miller's not. Because he's going to lose and have to go back to England with a loss.
Maybe. You never know. Because honestly, I'm really excited for you because it's just watching you guys have that little interaction y'all had at WrestleMania. I was just like, ooh, this is really gonna happen. And I've really been, like a big supporter of it in my mind. I was like, you know what? I can't wait for this to happen because I've been watching Simon for years. And then I've been watching you, and now I know you personally. So it's just kind of like, man, this is going to be interesting now that I actually, I follow both of them. I love both of them. So this is going to be interesting to see. So sadly, I won't be there. But either way, that was the reason why I wanted to support it, and be the sponsor for it. Because I was just like, this is this is something, these are two people that I love very much, and I support the fact that they both wrestle. So this is gonna be interesting and this is gonna be cool. So that's why, and I really feel like the people who do get to watch it live are in for a show. So are you nervous at all? Considering this is
Ah,
your first match?
it's my first and last match because I'm retiring after this match.
Why you keep saying it?
Because I'm done. Because I'm done. I'm done.
No,
I'm done. We ain't doing this. We ain't doing this anymore. We're over with
no,
this. We're over with this.
no,
I'm putting the boots up and I'm done. So that's how,
no.
this is this is
You,
this is it. This is it.
you
I got to. But I said this. I said this when I started the podcast. I'm gonna do one match and I'm out of here. That's it. I envisioned a gym, which I'm gonna be in, and I'm a school gym, and I'm gonna do the match, and I'm gonna go home on top. I'm gonna ride into the sunset like my name is Michael Jordan back in the day, not Wizard Jordan, Bulls Jordan.
you sound like Bill Murray in Space Jam. Like at the end when they beat the Monstars and he decided he was gonna retire on top, and I was just like, bruh, why? That's what you
Listen,
sound like. It's so frustrating because it's just like, I guess because in my mind I see the vision and I'm just like, why can't he just wrestle forever? Because he has all of this electricity, all of this charisma. You got all this stuff going on, and I'm just like, why can't he just keep going? Because it's
nah,
like
we're
when you
good.
said
We're
that was
good.
your last one, I was like, what? You mean ever?
Yeah,
Dang.
this is it. This is it. So I can't lose. Literally, I am going in with the mindset that this is a must win.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of if Simon wins or lose, he is playing with house money. I am not. Because this is my last match, I have to win. It can't be 0-1, it has to be 1-0. Loss column has to be empty. So this is a must-win situation for Sir Wilkins. That is it. Because at the end of the day, I'm done after this match.
I'm
Yeah,
sad.
that ping
I'm
was
sad.
perfect.
I'm sad. Just
Yeah.
no. Because I feel like if you lose this match, then that would give you an excuse to try again.
No, if I lose in this match, I go in fucking depression.
You will not be depressed. No, don't claim that. You won't be depressed. You'll just try again. Dang it. I'm being selfish. I'm being selfish. It's your choice ultimately, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be sad because I'll be like, dang. But either way, it's your choice either way, and I'm still excited for you. But
Mhm.
just know that in my heart of hearts, I want you to wrestle forever.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. So that basically knocks out any other questions I might have had for you at that point, because I was going to ask you if you felt like you had a permanent place in wrestling, but that kind of knocks it out there at that point.
Nah, the
So,
same permanent. Legacy, leave the
nah,
legacy and walk out. I'm closing the door behind me.
yeah,
Stephanie Hardy.
yeah. So, what do you plan? Like, what else do you plan on contributing to wrestling if you're not going to be an athlete?
So maybe continue this whole media stuff and try to get wrestling to be talked about more on the mainstream level. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna happen. I'm gonna do it. I just don't know when it's actually gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. So I think that's one of my goals is to do that, and just continue talking about something that I love. It's the only thing that ever loved me back.
I'm sure they will. Jesus Christ. Like, that's so dramatic. Like, Jesus Christ, people will love you back. Because the way I think about you and the way you talk about wrestling, it reminds me of Stephen A. Smith. So it's just
I
like in a
appreciate
good
that.
way. Because in my
No, I
head,
know,
I'm
I know,
just
I
like, you
know.
know what? If you guys had a show on ESPN, y'all would be like the first take of ESPN, and then it would be fine. And you would be Stephen A. Smith, and that would be fine.
yeah, we'll do it that way. But it is what
Yeah.
it is. Greatness is coming from me one way or another. But this will be
Right.
my last match, Stephanie Hardy. This will be
It's okay.
this will be the end of a very short but beautiful career.
Yeah. It's okay. That is fine. And if this is going to be your last match, at least you'll go out with a bang. And that's all that matters. Well, so that's pretty much it. And you mentioned, what your future has for you. So thank you so much, Sir Wilkins, for coming on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. So tell everybody where they can find and follow you and also plug anything that you might want to plug because y'all always have a lot to plug anyway. So just plug everything. Plug everything.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Sir Wilkins. You can find me on all forms of social media, SIR_Wilkins. I'm also one third of a lush, very amazing podcast called the Jobber Tears Podcast. So you can find us everywhere on social media, Jobber Tears, and you will find us. Also, January 21st, I will be putting Simon Miller into the dirt of Brooklyn, New York. So you can find me whooping Simon's butt in Brooklyn, New York on January 21st for the Battle Club promotion. Also, February 8th, I will be doing a guest spot on Amazon's new show, Game Breaker, on Amazon Live. Around
Cool.
about 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., I'll be a guest host on there talking about wrestling, informing these hosts about the culture of wrestling. So you will see that going up very soon. But Stephanie Hardy and the Hardy podcast, wrestling podcast, I got the first drop of me talking about that. So that was an exclusive.
Yay! HWP exclusive, y'all. I'm so
HWP
happy. I
Hardy
am so
Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. And of course, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy and listen to this episode, which will be more than likely by tomorrow or tonight. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. And of course, the match Sir Wilkins versus Simon Miller is sponsored by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, even though I won't be there, sadly, but representatives, my girls Katrina from NCAT We Trust and Shay Sawyer will be there from Unpopular Review, and they will be representing me. So until next time, this is the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl Stephanie Hardy and Sir Wilkins out. Bye, y'all.
Bye, Steph.